Welcome to Crush House Cappers. I'm your host, Wayne Allyn Root, the CEO of VegasWinners.com, and the man the media calls the king of Vegas sports gambling and America's odds maker. I'm the only sports handicapper in the world with a 180-pound granite star on the Vegas Walk of Stars. How cool is that? Now I'm bringing my Vegas connections and Vegas insider knowledge to you. This is the show for every type of sports gambler. Male, female, high roller, beginner, $10 better, $10,000 better. We're here to empower anyone and everyone that loves the single most important part of betting, winning. At Crush House Cappers and our sponsor website, VegasWinners.com. Winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. I want to remind you to go to VegasWinners.com right after this podcast ends for one of my world famous games of the year. Just register. It's simple, it's easy, it takes a minute, and you automatically receive $1,000 in free coupons, which you can apply to my game of the year. You also get 5,000 reward points, which can be converted into gifts and prizes with our state-of-the-art cryptocurrency reward system. It's all at VegasWinners.com. Now, each week here on Crush House Cappers, I bring to you the leading experts in sports handicapping, all of them part of my handicapping elite team of 21 champions at Vegas Winners. This has been a dream of mine for a long time, putting together the greatest lineup of handicappers ever seen in the history of the sports gaming industry. We did it at VegasWinners.com. And every week here on Crush House Cappers, I bring you a variety of those handicappers. So this week, we've got Big Al with us, we've got Jesse with us, we've got Joe with us, Joe D'Amico for the first time. I want to first of all welcome Jesse and Joe. Joe, welcome to the team.
Wayne, I'm so honored to be here. Very excited, representing the most exciting website on the planet, Vegas Winners, with my friend, Wayne Allyn Root. Friends, 30 years. Thank you for having me, Wayne.
Joe, it's an honor to be on the same set with you. We've got Jesse, who doesn't come to us from Vegas. He comes from up north, way up north in Canada. Jesse, welcome to the team.
Thank you, Wayne. I'm glad to be here, just happy to be here, and really appreciate you giving me this opportunity.
And Big Al, me and Joe have known each other. Joe says 30 years. Yes. Boy, time flies. How about you and I? Did we beat that? I don't know. Around there?
Yeah, about 30, going on 32 years. It was the fall of 1990. I was in my third year of law school. You were at FNN, and I wrote you a letter, and that's how we got acquainted.
I remember the letter. And by the way, I'm the only guy in the world who actually answered back, right? Guys don't do that. I answered back your letter. I found it so fascinating that a law student at fancy University of Michigan would be a sports gambling enthusiast. I answered it back, and we became friends for life, and he joined my TV show like 20 years ago. You were on for many, many years. I think it was a 10 or 15-year run. So, and I'm proud that Big Al went out and built one of the best sports handicapping sites in the world himself. He's a smart businessman himself. So we've got quite a crew here. Let's start with the newcomer, Joe D'Amico. Hey, Joe, we've got the Miami of Florida Hurricanes, who've started off the season horrible, got decimated by Alabama, and then they just barely, by the skin of their chinny chin, beat Appalachian State? You got to be kidding me. Miami of Florida was supposed to be a top 10 team this year. I don't know what happened, but can they rebound against Michigan State this week? How do you see it?
Well, Wayne, sports fans, I like head coach Manny Diaz, and I like quarterback De'Ara King. But what I'm seeing at this point of the season from top dog Mel Tucker's Michigan State Spartans, I like a heck of a lot more. Miami, as Wayne mentioned, got blasted by Alabama in their season opener. Okay, no surprise there, but they were supposed to bounce back in their next matchup and make a statement. This is a highly touted team that went through 7 lead changes in week 2 against Appalachian State, and needed a late field goal to eke by with a 2-point win. Very quickly, Michigan State, they faced and beat outright a very tough Northwestern team. They plowed them for over 500 yards of offense. They followed that contest up with what I feel is a confidence-building beatdown of Youngstown State. This team is riding some momentum, folks. Sparty quarterback Peyton Thorne, he's looking sharp. He's got Kenneth Skywalker. I love this kid. He carries the ball. The running back has already tallied over 321 yards on the ground, 5 scores on an astounding 10.7 YPC, yards per carry. This does not bode well, Wayne, for a Canes team that's giving up a ton of yards on the ground. Trust me, guys, they're in for a long and dismal day here. When they have the ball, they've got to line up against defensive coordinator Scotty Hazelton's much improved stop unit. Here's some ATS stats for you guys. Miami, 1-4 the last 5 as a favorite. 1-6 the last 7 non-conference games. 0-4 the last 4 played against Big Ten opponents. 0-5 their last 5 at home. They crush bettors, and getting nearly a TD here, I feel is a gift, guys. The Spartans are going to storm the Hurricanes here. Take the points, and you're going to take your bookmaker's money. Take it from Joey D. You'll follow me to the bank.
All right, the Godfather has spoken. I grew up in an old Italian neighborhood in New York. You remind me of the Godfather, Joey. I like it. Jesse from up north in Canada, what do you say about the game? Joe was emphatic. It's Michigan State all the way. Are you emphatic about either side?
Well, I tend to agree with Joe here. I'm looking at the Canes, and you can't really fault them for their poor performance against Alabama, but you sure would have hoped they would have come out a little stronger against App State. You got to be concerned about Derek King coming off that ACL injury. He just doesn't look like the same quarterback he did early on last season. I'm also concerned about the running game. They haven't really been able to run the ball. They're ranked 94th overall in rushing with 3.5 yards per carry. And their depth took a little bit of a hit with the loss of Donald Chaney. And Michigan State, I mean, like Joe said, they looked really good on the road at Northwestern. Their quarterback, he's not exactly lighting it up, but one thing is he's protecting the football. He's not making mistakes. Almost 500 yards passing with 5 touchdowns, no picks. Perfect quarterback to bet on as an underdog. So I'm going to take the points.
Does it occur to anybody that maybe Appalachian State is an underrated team? I mean, I'm just throwing it out there that maybe Miami had a really tough opponent that nobody gives any respect to, but Appalachian State the last few years has pulled off their share of upsets. Maybe, just maybe, they're a lot better than people think. I just wonder if we're undervaluing Appalachian State. So thank you, Jesse. Big Al, any answer to that?
Well, as a Michigan fan, I sure know about Appalachian State. But, I look at college football and NFL a little bit differently. With the NFL, I'm much more of a contrarian, and if a team is playing bad, I might look for them to bounce back. If a team is playing well, I might look for them to have a letdown. College football for me, Joe touched upon this, it's much more of a momentum sport. And what I like to do, you look at Miami, they're off back-to-back point spread losses. And one of the things I like to do is go against 500 or worse teams off back-to-back ATS losses to start the season. So in games 1 and 2, if they're then matched up against an opponent off back-to-back wins, which Michigan State is, and those teams off back-to-back ATS losses actually don't bounce back. They're 43 and 70 ATS. So I'm going to take a look here at Michigan State plus the points. The line's up to 6.5 as we record the show. It's not a strong play for me.
And a few sevens, right? A few sevens.
Yeah, it's 7 right now at 5 times, but mostly 6.5. So I'm going to take the 6.5 points here. It's not a strong play. It's more of a with a gun to my head kind of play, but I'll take Michigan State.
All right, so we have Michigan State, Michigan State, Michigan State. You know what that means? Miami's a lock. For years, I've done these shows for years. When every single handicapper has one side, the other side seems to always win. But you've all convinced me that Miami of Florida is a dangerous play here. That's for sure. Let's head to the NFL with my 3 sports handicapping champions. We're going with Miami again. This time it's the Miami Dolphins, not the Miami Hurricanes. But we seem to be stuck on Miami this week. I love Florida, so what the hey. Miami is a underdog. All they did was beat the New England Patriots and Bill Belichick. An underdog of 3.5 points at home against the big bad Buffalo Bills. Now you say, hey, Buffalo should be the favorite. They were so close to making the Super Bowl last year. Josh Allen is so good. This team is so badass. But they lost last week. Pittsburgh demolished them. And they hit the road, and they're a 3.5 point favorite, Buffalo, over the Miami team that beat New England. So it's a little bit of a conundrum here, what you do. Let's start with Big Al. Any great stats on this game?
Well, I actually, one of my losses last week was on New England. That was a tough loss. They fumbled the ball deep in Miami territory as they were going to go in for a possible win and cover. Miami was out-yarded by New England in that ball game, 393 to 259. And they also benefited from 2 fumbles, so that kind of explains why they won that game by 1 point. Then you look at the Buffalo-Pittsburgh game. Buffalo off that tough 23-16 upset loss, but they actually out-yarded Pittsburgh 371 to 252, but they lost the turnover war, and they lost the game. So one of the things I'm going to do here is I'm going to look at the Buffalo Bills in this Game 2 situation. When you look at Game 2, road teams off upset losses, those teams have covered 61% over the last 42 seasons versus foes off an upset win. I like Buffalo here minus the points.
All right, Big Al has spoken. Buffalo as the favorite. Let's go to Jesse. Jesse, your thoughts on this game. Miami Dolphins, Buffalo Bills.
As it so happens, I'm going to be in full agreement once again. I'm looking at that Dolphins win against the Patriots, and as Al mentioned, Patriots had a first down on the 11-yard line in the final minutes. They should have been able to pound the rock 3 times, either kick a game-winning field goal or go in for the game-winning score. They were fortunate, and then Buffalo loses to Pittsburgh. How much can you read into that? Well, let's not forget that Pittsburgh started 11-0 last year. Pittsburgh's a pretty good team with a great defense. How good is Miami's defense? Well, one of the indications I have is a lot of the analysts said after that game that Mac Jones reminds them a lot of Tom Brady. So if your defense is making a rookie look like Tom Brady, maybe that says something. I don't know. But let's look at Josh Allen. They're facing Josh Allen this week. Josh Allen last year at Miami threw for 417 yards and 4 touchdowns. Now that was a close game, but only because Ryan Fitzpatrick on the other side had a game himself. And is Tua, I'm not even going to attempt that. Is Tua going to be able to match serves with Josh Allen? And I'm going to say no. I'm going to go with Buffalo here.
You know, I hate it when teams pick a guy who's got a tough last name to pronounce. I'm with you, Jesse. I can't stand it. Just call him Tua. In any case, all right, so we've got a little agreement again. Is it going to be 3 for 3? Joe D'Amico, where do you stand, Dolphins and the big bad Buffalo Bills?
Well, Wayne, as far as your comment about me being a godfather, I just want you to know I plead the fifth on that one. Going into this game, my friends, the Bills are once again, as you know, touted to possibly represent the AFC come February. But sports fans, February is a long way away. And all the good they did, their team and their fans going undefeated in August, was negated in their season opening outright loss to the Steelers. They just couldn't seem to find their footing in week 1. And I want to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. Pittsburgh put constant pressure on quarterback Josh Allen. This exposed a huge weakness this team has. He was pressured 24 times, sacked 3 times, fumbled twice. He lost 1. The offensive line committed 6 penalties. Sports fans, I'm not a big fan of Allen. I wasn't in love with him when he was at Wyoming. They possessed one of the nation's poorest offenses. It was their solid defense that carried the Cowboys to victory. Yes, he's exciting and he can create plays. I'm not denying that, Buffaloians. I'm not denying that at all. But a pressure quarterback, I don't think he is. The Dolphins, Brian Flores, a well-liked players coach. He and defensive coordinator Josh Breyer, I want you to know, they have the D primed and ready to wreak havoc on the less than stellar Bills offensive line here. More importantly, they're going to pressure Allen offensively. The Finns might as well be wearing Crimson Tide uniforms as Tua Tagovailoa, love that name, and Eric Waddle offer a great 1-2 punch, and they're going to challenge the Bills defense for 4 quarters. Throw in the mix wideout extraordinaire Devontae Parker and even Jacoby Brissett to keep Buffalo stop unit on their toes, and you've got a recipe for success here. Miami has the luxury of playing in front of a packed house full of loyal and loud fans in this one, and that will play a significant role this early in the campaign. The Bills are 1-4 against the spread, their last 5 following a straight-up loss. I feel Miami has a real shot at winning this game outright, but I'll take the field goal here. Let's swim with the Dolphins and drown your book, guys.
All right, the one-on-one that I look forward to every week is me and Sean Salisbury, former NFL quarterback, former Canadian Football League champion. By the way, were you like the MVP of the league when you were the champion? You were the quarterback of the team that won it all.
Threw for a lot of yards. I actually got there because of my training camp in the NFL, got there a little bit late, and then we went on a run and won the whole thing, played about 11 or so games. The Grey Cup, yeah, but not in the regular season MVP, was somebody else, and I don't even know who. But that was my first year there and got to call my own plays, so it was kind of cool being a part of that. And I learned a lot about football and calling offense when I was there.
And you were the Grey Cup MVP.
Yeah, they have like 5 different people and different votes, but in one of them I was, yes.
And what did you throw for? I still remember in the championship game what your stats were?
I have no idea, and the truth is, Wayne, I probably remember a high school stat better than any stat in CFL or NFL. I know the one stat is that we were celebrating like crazy and drinking out of the Grey Cup, and that's all I cared about.
All right, another big win for Sean Salisbury. Let's win on Crush House today. So let's start with the Buffalo Bills. Are the Bills overrated? Last week, they got crushed by the Pittsburgh Steelers, just crushed. And coming into the season, all I kept hearing from every expert, betting expert, and also just football expert, Everybody thought the Bills are one of the 3 best teams in the NFL with, of course, Kansas City and Tampa Bay. Everybody thought that. So are the Bills overrated?
Yeah, and Wayne, not only that, a lot of people thought that the AFC was going to go through Buffalo to get to the Super Bowl in the AFC, home field advantage throughout because everybody felt they were that good. And it still may happen because it's been 1 week, but that's all we have to judge on. And you hit it when you were teeing up the question. All off season, all we heard about the Buffalo Bills was great, great, great. Maybe just not. We always talk about how does the team handle adversity. Well, you also got to ask yourself how they handle success. And the success, all the talk, maybe they looked around and said, we're pretty damn good. And forgot that the Pittsburgh Steelers don't bullshit either, and they know how to play some football as well. And in front of their own audience, at home, in front of those great fans, I don't think they're overrated. I think that they got a major wake-up call and a little sledgehammer to the head. They're going to play better this week. If I was the Miami Dolphins, I would be prepared for the Buffalo Bills' best. They will play much better this week, and you'll get 4 quarters out of them. That's going to be difficult. Miami's pretty good, too. I don't think they're overrated. I think they needed a wake-up call, but this is going to be a test. We'll be able to see where are they. I think Sean McDermott, Leslie Frazier, their defensive coordinator, Brian Dable have a plan for Miami. Tua better be prepared because they're going to have to be in some kind of shootout because Buffalo will score.
Well, they better be damn prepared because if you open up 0-2, you have an 8% chance of making the playoffs in NFL history.
Right.
0-2 is a disaster. And by the way, let me bring up my Dallas Cowboys. 0-2 as well if they lose this week at the LA Chargers, a very good team that last week upset the Washington Redskins. They've already beaten an NFC East team that was the champion last year. Now the Cowboys have to take them on. And the Cowboys are without DeMarcus Lawrence. They may be without Randy Gregory. By game time, we'll know if they're both out. So now there's no pass rush at all, and they're without La'el Collins, one of their 3 best offensive linemen. They got a lot of injury and missing guys. So the question is, are the Cowboys in big trouble and very likely to go 0-2?
Now, they're headed on the road against a team that's coming off. Speaking of a team that better not feel too good about themselves with Dak Prescott throwing it, boy, Arizona was a wow factor game last week. I could not believe how bad they beat up on a pretty physical team, Mike Vrabel's team in Tennessee. Now, with Dallas going on the road, you know what, Wayne? I'm actually looking at this different. I actually think that Kellen Moore, their coordinator, and Mike McCarthy, the coach, are going to have them running the ball more effectively, trying to control some clock, knowing that defensively you're not going to generate a pass rush against a guy who I guarantee you by the time we get December and Kyler Murray will be on the front of people's mind, not on the back of it when it comes to MVP talk. The key for them is, and you mentioned Collins out, can you control Chandler Jones, who had 5 sacks last week? So they're feeling good about themselves. But if you do not get Zeke Elliott more than 11 carries, I'm going to jump through the computer, fly to Arizona, and grab Mike McCarthy and Kellen Moore by the nape of their neck and say, let's get a guy that you picked to get him going so it makes it easier on Prescott. I actually think the Cowboys are going to come down. This is going to come down to a last possession for me. I think the Cowboys got a chance in this one because everybody's saying they don't. And anytime you got a guy who can throw the ball like Prescott, somebody's going to have to rise up, short field, strip sack, fumble. I actually like the Cowboys this week, even though I think the NFC West is by far the best division in football. I'm giving the Cowboys a legit chance for that next man up to do something for the Cowboys this week. But you better contain Kyler Murray because he can throw a party and deliver the party hats to him if they're not careful.
Now, I'm very good at this stuff, as you know. I'm pretty good at picking points for winners. And last week, out of 21 handicappers, guess who was number 1 at Vegas Winners picking NFL games? I was 6-2, number 1 in net wins, number 1 in winning percentage, number 1 in everything out of 21 handicappers. And I had 3 outright underdog upsets with with Arizona, with New Orleans Saints, and with the LA Chargers. So I had a great week last week, but I tend to try and stay away from my Dallas Cowboys because I know I'm so emotionally, passionately connected with them that I'm always going to go the wrong way because I love them, and you don't see things clearly when you love a team. But I do believe everything you just said. Everybody's against Dallas this week. Injuries piling up, suspensions piling up. I think that Dak Prescott takes the ball in his hands, throws 5 touchdowns, and the Cowboys win a shootout. I think it's going to work out just the way you said it. So, but again, I'm so close to the situation.
I hear
probably
you.
won't be one of my 5 picks at VegasWinners.com.
That's how I
I'm
was
making a big play.
That's how I feel about my Raiders, my man. I'm looking at them traveling across country after Pittsburgh beats, and I know Frankie didn't. I'm thinking, can the Raiders go on the road? So I try to stay away from betting on my Raiders too. So because I want to take that emotion out of it. My heart and my head don't mix when it comes to my favorite teams. There you go.
What was that? The greatest debut of a home field in front of their fans
Phenomenal.
on Monday Night Football in Las Vegas with the nation watching, with an overtime win after they had the ball first and goal at the 1 foot-yard line and didn't get in, and then cause a fumble and throw a long touchdown in overtime and do get in. What a Raider spectacular opening week with the nation watching. Amazing.
And now my anxiety may go through the roof, but I'll take another one of those this week if they want to give me one on the road in Pittsburgh. I'm all over it. It's going to be a tough one, but yeah, I'm staying away from the gambling side of the Raiders. Too much emotion for me too, bud.
Yeah, let's see. Overtime win in front of the home fans, first time ever in Las Vegas with fans on Monday Night Football. The whole world watching, dramatic win. Now you got to fly 3,000 miles to the East Coast and take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. They may get hammered, but that's what everybody's saying, and all the betting is on Pittsburgh. So who knows? Maybe the Raiders can squeak one out. We'll see. Surprise everybody. Let's talk for a minute about the LA Rams. Let's switch from the LA Chargers to the against Dallas to the LA Rams. So I had them on Monday Night Football. That was one of my wins. I had the Rams beating up on the Chicago Bears, and they look good. I predicted preseason that this was a Super Bowl team. Stafford could bring them to the Super Bowl. They were my underdog pick to win the Super Bowl. And the question is, can they win all season long, Sean Salisbury, without a running game? Or will they get a running game?
Yeah, Wayne, I love this question because I guess the best way for me to put it, they can win. Hell, I think Stafford, what a great debut by him. You and I have been praising him, and especially about an MVP guy before the season's over, right? And there's no doubt, and Sean McVay and him looked like they'd been calling plays together for 15 years. Here's the key. And I was looking around, your Dallas Cowboys and Zeke Elliott, and you take a look at Saquon Barkley in New York. Look around the league at these supposed Derrick Henry last week in Tennessee. The superstar backs.
Not
okay. Then you look at San Francisco, and they've always got 2 or 3 guys that can get it done. Denver in the past. I think this team can. Yes, you'd love to have a dominant running back, but with Stafford, the way they play defense, the way that with Stafford, you don't think he loved throwing less than 30 times for those yards and not having to throw it 45 or 50 times in a losing effort? I do think they can, Wayne. I think they can sustain it. Why? You may have to use a committee and mix it in, but the success of Stafford is going to cause teams to, let's back off, not give up the big play, which will open some running lanes for them. I don't think, matter of fact, I think having a first top 3, top 5 draft pick running back is so overrated. I'd never take one in the first round. But if you can get a bunch of different bodies doing it, and you got Sean McVay, a great play caller, which is a big part of it, I do believe they can sustain it. And that NFC West is going to be a bitch all year long. I do believe the Rams can because I love Stafford and I love McVay.
What a shocker. A former NFL quarterback votes for quarterbacks being important and running backs by committee.
There you go, brother. There you go. That's
All
right.
right. Last question, Sean. Your guarantee of the week. You've got a guarantee this week. I think it involves a guy called Mr. Rogers. Tell us what the guarantee is.
Wayne, have you? I can't remember a time when I saw him in particular play that bad, almost disinterested, the whole team. And then the Saints defense embarrassed them. The greatest scorekeeper not named Tom Brady in this league is Aaron Rodgers. He files it away. It's on Monday Night Football. He knows what everybody's saying about him and them this week. They're making wisecracks. Well, it's all because Aaron's off season. He's shouldering all this nonsense that people are talking about. Now, with him and Matt LaFleur as head coach, 6 games after a loss, 6-0. This is the 7th one. 16 touchdowns, 0 picks. Not only is this the biggest guarantee of the weekend in the NFL, this may very well be the biggest guarantee of the weekend in sports. Rodgers will play lights out. That big old spread they're playing against Detroit, they're going to cover that. This game's one of those where like a 41-17 type game. Aaron Rodgers is going to tee off on Detroit. Detroit will play hard. Aaron Rodgers will even the score this week to make sure the world knows on national TV that the Packers and him aren't going away. That's my biggest guarantee for sure on Sunday, and I'll include that in college football. I don't bet against the guy twice.
Well, my guarantee is that whoever picks the games for ESPN and Monday Night Football, if you ever put the Detroit Lions on Monday Night Football again, you should be fired. That's my guarantee. Why would you ever have a game involving the Detroit Lions on Monday Night Football? That team sucks for the last... I'm 60 years old. It sucks for the 50 years I've been watching football.
Right.
Detroit does not belong in prime time ever, and this is a rebuilding year. It's not like it's a big hopeful year for Detroit. They got rid of their greatest quarterback, and they traded him for a piece of junk that the Rams didn't want anymore. This is such a ridiculous pick to put them on Monday Night Football. Rodgers will probably destroy them. But in any case, Sean, always great repartee back and forth between you and I. Always appreciate it. NFL quarterback Sean Salisbury, CFL champion Sean Salisbury. Good stuff, my man.
Great to be with you, and you keep kicking ass in those games, man, and that's why there's that big guarantee on Monday night. You and I both know that's going to happen. I always appreciate you, brother. Thanks.
All right, big week one for me. Let's see if I keep it up in week two. My first look at the games, I'm working on them right now as we speak, is I see two huge ones, two of the biggest ones I've loved. It's been a long time since I've loved two games like this, so lots of good stuff coming up. Sean, thanks. See you next week.
You too, bud. Thank you.
Thanks for hanging out with us on Crush House today. I want you to remember you can sign up right now to become a part of the Crush House gang and unlock all of my winning picks only at VegasWinners.com. I want to remind you to go to VegasWinners.com right after this podcast ends, right about now, for one of my world-famous games of the year. Just register. It's simple. It's easy. It takes 1 minute. You automatically receive $1,000 in free coupons, which you can apply to my game of the year. And you also get 5,000 reward points, which can be converted into gifts and prizes with our state-of-the-art cryptocurrency reward system. It's all and it's only at VegasWinners.com. What else is waiting at Vegas Winners? Check out all our entertaining and informative Crush House podcasts. Enter to win fabulous prizes, including trips to Vegas to join me and the Crush House gang to watch a game, break some bread, and experience Sin City like few ever will. Most importantly, it's always about my favorite thing, winning. And of course, there's the point spread winners. We've got free winners every day, plus best bets from our team of 21 sports handicapping champions, the greatest lineup ever assembled. All you have to do is take 1 minute to register. Just go to VegasWinners.com right now. Follow the prompts to register, and you automatically get the picks, the wisdom, the analysis, and the winning point spread advice, plus rewards points for every click. It's all there. A big thank you to Jesse, Big Al, and Joe for dropping in. Now those are smart guys. Thanks for the point spread wisdom and insights, guys. If you like what you saw or heard, come back and tune into Crush House Cappers each week only on the Crush House Network, which includes Crush House and the Crush House Legends podcast. Thanks for stopping into another episode of Crush House Cappers, because winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. Until next time, just win big, baby.